Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 12 of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Otsutsuki clan. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode over on Anime King of What If Naruto Was Told About the Uzumaki clan from the beginning, and enjoy that guys. And also stay tuned for a brand new episode coming over Anime King 2. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, 2 more years has passed since Naruto was now in the village, as it has been now 4 years since he reunited with Menma. Menma was now 12 years old. Menma was gathered with Team Guy, along with Sasuke as well. As Naruto was going to face off against Guy, this was Kakashi's doing. Kakashi was pissed off at Naruto because of what he did, so he decided to get some payback by turning Guy towards him. Kakashi books had gotten out of hand, mostly because he hung around with Naruto, and Menma was always there in Sasuke as well. And the kids actually saw in the book at once, and said some rather inappropriate things that they saw from Kakashi reading. So Mikoto and Naruto were found at Kakashi's house, burning all of his collections. So Kakashi introduced Naruto to Guy, and told him that Naruto was a brilliant fighter, even better than him. Given the fact that Naruto was called to being talked to the Hyugas, he changed his eye color. They were keep on insisting that he was one of them, so he decided to change his eyes to show that he was not. After all, in truth, he was not actually a Hyuga, and his eyes were blue like Menma's. Guy and the others didn't really know that Naruto was the one that brought great destruction on the 3 nations. He might have the name, but he never said Uzumaki, he just said Naruto, so no one could put that together that easily, and given the fact that they didn't saw him back then, so they did not put it together. So Naruto and Guy started the battle. Guy was holding back, thinking that he might hurt Naruto if he went all out, but Naruto pushed his ego and told him to go all out, and Guy did. Well, not really, he went into the 6 gates, as Naruto noticed that technique rather easily, and called out the name. Guy was surprised that Naruto knew it. As Guy attacked Naruto, Naruto evaded all of his strikes, before he hit a pressure point inside Guy's stomach, and that took Guy out of the fight rather easily. As Lee and the others were shocked, Tenten couldn't believe what she was seeing. Nature remained neutral, but he was also shocked on the inside as well. As Menma ran up to his grandfather, as he knew that his grandfather would win after all. As Naruto asked Hiruzen if he enjoyed the show, as Hiruzen came out of his hiding spot. After all, he was watching the entire thing. So with that, he had a proposal for Naruto. Just like how he trained the 3 Saiyans, he had 3 people for Naruto to train. As the 3 of them could probably grow up and make a name for himself, as 3 stronger warriors even than the Saiyans with Naruto help. Hinata Hyuga, Menma, and Sasuke. Hinata was shy, but the girl had potential. She just needed to get over her anxiety. And from what Hiruzen had heard, Naruto was a good teacher. He was maybe a bit brutal, but he was a good teacher, and he also helped his former sensei to get stronger. Tobirama sensei always said that Naruto training was quite effective after all. The next day, Menma got his head banned, as it wasn't really that hard to pass the test, given how strong he was. As he was shocked to his core to find out that his sensei was going to be his grandfather. Hinata introduced herself shyly, as Naruto looked towards her with a smile. She remembered him, even though his eyes were different. He was the one that had bring her home that night. Hinata told him that her father wished to speak to him regarding something she did not know. This could be a social call, given that he was now her sensei. As Naruto made his way towards the Hyuga compound, there was 2 other Hyugas there. They tried to demand things from Naruto, things they wanted to know, but Naruto shut all of that down. and he told them that Hinata would not be leaving his team. The Hyugas were shocked by this, and Naruto didn't really give a damn as he left. Later that night, Hinata was called as her father told her whatever Naruto teach her, he wanted to know. She couldn't do nothing but agree. Meanwhile, the hidden Rain, the girl, she has gotten stronger. Konan called her Urza, blonde hair and blue eyes, as the girl was incredibly strong and powerful for someone that was probably only 12 years old. As the masked man had told her that she will be joining the Chunin exams and go to Konoha, where she will be finding all the weakness in their defenses. The girl was highly skilled at infiltrating, because she had a power that could make her basically undetectable. Everything was going well, but someone arrived, not exactly on Earth. It was an Otsutsuki. They were looking for Naruto. So yeah guys, that's basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place, check out for yourself. So just begin this new episode. We begin this episode with Hidden Rain. I give. A girl that was 12 years old said she dropped right on her butt as she was exhausted. She was panting heavily. She had brown hair and hazel eyes. She was wearing a dark shirt with trimmings on the side, along with a grey skirt with black shorts underneath, with black boots on her feet. Her name was Yakumo. Next to her, her friend was spread out on the ground, as she was exhausted as well, panting heavily, as she could barely move. Her name was Saya. She had green hair, dark eyes. Her clothing was similar, but it was dark green. Standing in front of them was their friend, Urza, who they called E. Urza was completely fine. There was not even a scratch on her. In one hand, she looked disappointed. You two need to get into better shape. If we're going to be taking on Chunin exams at Konoha, we need to be prepared and ready. And I won't have you two hold me back. You know, said Yakumo, you shouldn't be talking to your friends like that. Yeah, said Saya, and it's not like all of us have inhuman strength like you. You're different from us. We don't know exactly how, said Yakumo, but you are. I'm not any different from anyone else. It's just that I'm better, said E, with a smile on her face. Arrogant much, said Saya. Saya, she shook her head. I'll whip the both of you in shape, she said. Isn't that Sensei's job? Well, given the fact that I'm stronger than Sensei, I'm basically the leader of this group. And who gave you that right? Asked Saya. No one did. I took it, said E. And what if we say no, said Yakumo? Doesn't really matter. Until you can beat me, there isn't really anything that you can do about it. And we thought that you weren't arrogant, said Saya. Well, can't say I'm not a bit. So, get back up and give me a lap around the field. What? Are you crazy? E raised her hand as a small ball of flame appeared in her palm. Run or burn. She's joking, right? Said Yakumo. Yeah, must be. Yakumo's eyes went wide as she jumped out of the way, as the ground was scorched where she was. Hey, you almost got me. Oh, but that is a test. I already told you, run or burn. As two more balls of flame came in her palms as she started to throw them, making the girls run, as she laughed psychotically. She was a bit crazy. Well, she was snapping them into good physique so they would be ready for the upcoming exam. Meanwhile, Snappy was making her way. There was a convention starting in a week or two. She was making her way towards the border of the land of hot water. She would have to pass through here before making her way. They were currently on top of the mountains in the land of mountains. The place was deserted and empty. No one really passed through here that much. Shizune was behind her with taunting as she glanced around, looking at the deserted area. Snappy had been different ever since Naruto arrived, ever since he came and went off. Shizune had noticed her subtle changes. Oftenly, she heard her crying at night. Whenever Shizune tried to speak to her, she acted like she was not crying, and like she was alright and all fine. Recently it has been stopping though, but she could tell that Snappy has been more sad than ever. It was affecting her bad. She was drinking a lot more, and getting into a lot of brawls in bars. Luckily, she was able to control her super strength, or a lot of people would be dead by now. As they were walking, Shizune felt something strange as she looked up. Snappy also felt as she looked up in the sky as well. when they saw a ball of flames coming down from the air. The both of them leaped away as the thing crashed. Luckily they moved as the explosion was not normal, as a giant part of the mountain collapsed in on itself, sending debris and dust everywhere that ripped through the air without hesitation. Was that a meteor? Said Shizune. Snavy was confused herself, as she stepped forward, as she looked at the scorched ground. It seems that way. But before she could say otherwise, she saw something that surprised her. Shizune blinked in shock as well. Snavy-sama, is that a person? Snavy heard a groan of pain as she jumped down. She quickly made her way towards the person that was lying there. It was a woman. She had silky white hair that was perfectly kept together despite the rough fall. Her eyes were tightly shut. She was in a white dress, a yukata, that was ripped up in certain areas, that was not protecting her modesty. As the girl was in pain, badly pain, there was blood all over her yukata. The girl slowly opened her eyes. That was when Snavy saw them. They looked like a Byakugan. The girl then passed out. Well, this is new, said Snavy. People now falling from the sky. She got to work as a medic. She wouldn't leave someone in this state, as she started to heal the woman. But she was in worse state than she thought. Shizune, we're gonna have to get her out of here. Time skip. At Konoha, Hinata rushed forward as she sent palm strikes after palm strikes towards Sasuke, who weaved and dodged all of them. Sasuke then jumped back as he had to duck as a swinging kick almost knocked him away from Menma. Menma then twisted his leg and brought it down, making Sasuke jump back. Sasuke flashed Johansson as he took in a deep breath. Fire style for about jutsu. Menma slammed his hand together. Water style. Prison encampment, he said as he slammed his hand tightly. Water gathered from the air without a water source nearby, created a ball of water around him. As the fireball slammed into him, Hinata's eyes went wide before she activated her Byakugan. But she released a sigh of relief as Menma stood there completely unharmed. As she rushed towards Sasuke, who turned and ducked. Sasuke then followed that up with a swinging kick, but she jumped over it and brought her hand down. Sasuke's eyes went wide as he rolled. Her palm strike connected with the earth. She then sent her foot out as it caught right in his stomach, knocking him back. Sasuke snarled and flipped on his feet several times, but he seemed to forget about someone as he turned. BAM! A fist sent him sailing backwards as he crashed on the ground. Sasuke cursed as he rubbed his face. Well, I think that is enough for today, said Menma. Okay, Menma-kun, said Hinata, as Menma smiled at her. Good job, Hinata. You're getting a lot stronger and faster. Her cheeks turned insanely red. Thank you. She said she scratched her cheek. Sasuke walked over. We could have still kept on going. Yeah, but my Jiju will be coming here soon. And today is finally the day that he let us go on a higher rank mission. It's been nothing but D ranks. And we need something higher. Because all these pet walking, painting fences, carrying groceries, they're good to help out the village, but I need a challenge, Menma said. Who doesn't, said Sasuke. Do you really think that we're ready? Asked Hinata. Of course we are. We're all getting stronger and faster. We can be ready for a C rank mission or even a B rank. Yeah, I'll stop right there for now. Okay, if you guys think so, said Hinata, as she was happy. It's been a long while since she's been happy, because things weren't really good at home. Well, at least the elders, nor her father was really talking to her that much recently. Her sensei had come over to talk to her father, but she didn't know what happened because no one told her. Naruto sensei said that everything was fine, but other than that, nothing has happened. But her father did tell her to tell him everything that happened while Naruto sensei was training her. And things are good with her teammates. Menma was nice. She always watched him while he was in academy. He was a nice, good person. Sasuke was nice as well, but she just didn't know how to talk to him that well. Because, well, it was weird when she was alone with him. They didn't know what to talk about. But he was a good person. Sorry for the long wait, guys. She smiled when she heard that voice as she turned to see her sensei. As Naruto came walking towards him, she didn't know what happened to his eyes, but now they were blue. His hair was still white and was flowing behind him. She didn't know how he got his hair looking that way, but she was afraid to ask. But his hair looked so amazing, always luscious and blowing in the breeze. It made her want to grow her hair longer as well. Sensei, said Menma as he gave a formal bow. As Naruto smirked at that, he must want something. We have all come to a decision, haven't we? Yes, said Sasuke. Yes, said Hinata. You too, Hinata, said Naruto. She blushed as she looked away, in embarrassment. But Sasuke grabbed her by the shoulders. She looked behind her with a panic, as Sasuke pushed her forward. As Menma stepped back. So, they made you ask me, said Naruto. Are they trying to play on my soft card, said Naruto. She poked her fingers together. Sensei, we've been doing D rank missions for about a week and a half now. We wonder if we could get a C rank or something else higher. We think that we're ready, and you have been training us in practical taijutsu so far. So we think that we can handle a tougher mission, she said, starting the entire time. Well, at least it wasn't as bad as before. Said Naruto. Given the fact that I was focused on Menma and Sasuke before I even got this team, I thought I would work exclusively on you, Hinata, because the boys have a lot to go over on their spare time, and I've already set them up with a training regime. But so far, you have shown amazing growth despite it only being a week and a half. So yes, I can agree, said Naruto. I will grant your request, but before that, I want you to look me in the eyes and do not stutter and ask for the mission request. Hinata froze. She didn't know if she could do that. She wondered if her sensei was trying to get her to be more open. It looked that way after all. He was always asking her questions, and he looked directly at her when he spoke. And it always made her nervous. She couldn't look someone directly in the eyes and spoke to them. It was crazy. She felt a hand on her shoulder. You can do this, said Menma. Sasuke grumbled something and Menma punched him in the shoulders. Ow! Sasuke glared at him. Yeah, you can do this, said Sasuke after Menma glared back. Hinata took a deep breath. They believed in her. Sensei, she said. I was wondering if we can get a higher rank mission. As her face was so red, Naruto stepped over as he placed a hand on her head and ruffled her hair. Calm down, he said. You might just burst. As she was trembling, it was exciting and also nerve-wracking. She had never looked someone in the eye this sternly before, and thought this way with them. The only person she did that with was her father and a couple of the elders who demanded her to look at them sternly. And even then, it was nerve-wracking for her. Time skip. At the office. And how is Team 7 doing today? Asked Hiruzen, as the group stepped into his office. We're doing well, JJ. We're here because we want something new, and my grandfather signed off on it. Something new? Hiruzen says he turned his eyes towards Naruto, as Iruka stood there as well with a few other chonins. I believe that my team is ready for a C rank mission, said Naruto. Something at least above a D rank. Hiruzen said. I see that you're adjusting to the ranking book well, as he looked towards Naruto. At first, Naruto wasn't really all that known about the system rank of Konoha. After all, he never really focused on anything like that in the past, and a few things had changed, so he didn't really know much about it. But he was a smart person, so after getting the ranking book from Hiruzen, he was able to go through it and learn what he needed to learn. So you think that you're ready for a C rank? Said Hiruzen as he looked towards Naruto. But Hokage-sama, Iruka said. They've been a genuine team for a week and a half now. That has never been done before. I'm sorry, but this cannot happen. It has to be at least 3 weeks before a newly genuine team can be given a mission that is above D rank. As he looked towards Naruto. I'm sorry, said Naruto. But he wasn't apologizing to Iruka. It seems like you've mistaken me, asking for your opinion or something. As Hiruzen sighed, Menma also sighed as well. It wasn't that his grandfather didn't like people. It's just that his grandfather didn't like people talking over him. These are my genins, and I've trained them to the best of their abilities to get ready for anything that might be thrown at them. And how would they ever know that they're ready if they don't have something to test themselves against? And you expect them to keep on doing chores for at least 3 months. As Naruto turned back towards the Hokage. So, is there anything there, he asks. Iruka was about to say something, but Hiruzen turned towards him. I chose this team specially for Naruto, and if you say that they're ready, they're ready. But sir, they were in the academy not too long ago, and they're no longer in the academy, said Naruto. They're now under my supervision, and I will keep them safe. Naruto was about to say something else, but Hiruzen, quiet the man. I have trust in Naruto training, and if he said that you're ready for something higher, I believe that they are. As Hiruzen pulled out 3 files, as he placed on his desk as Naruto stepped forward, he went over the first one. Before looking back at his team, he then placed it back down. He then went over the second one. Before placing it back down, he then went over the third one. As he looked it over, how about this one, he said. Hiruzen went over the file. The Springer Farms, he said, one of Konoha main supporting when it comes towards goods. It is an abundant class of farms that mostly sell towards us the freshest and top quality products. Recently, they have been getting attacked. Whoever is doing this is affecting the people there at the village in a mental way, one after another. It is said that most of them has gone psychotic, trying to either harm their own family or friends. The culprit was spotted by one of the farmers there. He couldn't tell what it was exactly, but he said that this thing, whatever it was, had a lot of arms. Not to mention their farms are being slowly ruined. All of their crops are being destroyed night after night. At first, the problem wasn't so troubling, only once in a month. But now they seem to be targeted, so they send out a mission request. This person, whoever it is, I believe they're using some kind of genjutsu on these people. These people aren't known for fighting, so it'd be rather easy to place a genjutsu on them, Hiruzen said, making them think that they're seeing monsters because the reports say the same thing. A monster with several hands. What if it is a monster? Said Menma. Sasuke turned towards him. Sometimes you're really stupid, you know that? What? Said Menma. You really think this is a monster? Asked Sasuke. Yeah, and what if it is? I can bet you anything that this isn't a monster. Just some guy targeting these people because he has nothing better to do. Because he's not strong enough to face true shinobis, he go after a weak, small village. And we're gonna take him down. Right, Sensei, said Sasuke as he turned towards Naruto. Well, we can't have these guys targeting these defenseless people. Not when they're just trying to make a living by farming. Yeah, said Menma. Let's do this, he said. Meanwhile, that was going on. Snavy was currently looking at the woman. It seems like her injuries were worse than Snavy expected. She had thought about just leaving her at the hospital, but she knew that he couldn't handle something like this. The woman had internal bleedings. Now that Snavy looked at it, it seemed that the woman had been through a long, drawn-out battle where she was hit. Snavy could see resemblance of Hyuga attacks because she was hit with force that would hurt her insides. A lot of her organs were ruptured inside, but it was amazing she was healing ridiculously fast with Snavy's help. Her body natural healing was amazing, but she was still unconscious. Snavy sighed. She should have been making her way alright to go to the casino, but now, here she was helping this woman. Well, she has sworn to help anyone that was in dire situations. Well, not the enemy, but still. People, defenseless, hurt. And she couldn't just leave her there. She would surely die. Snavy sighed as she sat down in the bed in the hotel. As the woman was over in the other bed, Shizune had run out to get them something to eat. Snavy looked through the window as her mind ran on Naruto there at Konoha. For once, she was glad for the pervert Jiraiya to come and speak to her because he told her what was going on there. She acted like she did not care, but she wanted to know. He was there, after all these years now, taking care of that boy. Snavy knew that in some ways she failed Kushina. Well, she failed her big time. Because she left. Well, it's not like she didn't try to take Menma with her, but Hiruzen would not give in to her. Something always bothered Snavy though. She remembered Kushina telling her something about a baby girl. It made no sense, but Kushina seemed rather hesitant and happy to tell her something. She was talking about a baby girl and then she said never mind. So that confused Snavy. In actuality, she thought that Kushina was going to have a girl, but it turned out to be a boy. Maybe it was just Kushina going insane. Well, she was usually crazy most of the time. Mito had treated the both of them like her daughter, so they had grown up like sisters. And she was Kushina's big sister, although Kushina came to outshine her in every field. but except for medical ninjutsu. But still, her younger sister was amazing, so she felt terrible of abandoning Menma. That is why she drank, to ignore the painful feelings of the past. To ignore it all, to ignore her suffering, so she drank it away. But now they were coming back, knowing that he was here, knowing that she could go home to her family. But she couldn't forgive him. She just couldn't, she was too angry. She then heard a sound as she turned her head. The woman was finally awakened, as she had a sheet over her. Snevy had wrapped her body in bandages, and actually put something on her that hid her modesty. The girl slowly opened her Byakugan eyes. They were non-active at the moment, as she glanced over towards Snevy. Her face then scrunched up in confusion. "Where am I?" she asked. "You're in a hotel, near the land of tea." "Who are you?" said Snevy. Snevy had noticed the features of this woman the moment she saw her. Strange enough, she kind of looked like Naruto, and not to mention her eyes. Something weird was going on, and she came from the sky. As the girl rubbed her forehead, she noticed she had bandage on. "Did you do this?" "Yes, you were hurt." "And you took care of me?" the woman said in a confused tone. Snevy was confused, of course. "Well, I get your suspicion. Most people wouldn't look after people, but I'm not most people. You saved my life, despite not knowing me. Well, at least some good ninjas are still around, right?" The woman seemed shocked by that. "Where I am from, they would rather leave you to die if you show any weakness, but yet you saved me." "Where is that exactly?" "Far, far from here." The woman winced in pain. "Easy there," said Snevy as she tried to get up. "Your body had been put through tremendous trauma. It seems like you were hit by gentle fist style from the Byakugan. Judging from your wounds though, it seems like you've been hurt for a long time now." Snevy thought about a report from Jiraiya. Jiraiya did not tell her about anything happening at Konoha, so she highly doubt that this woman attacked Konoha. "I'm looking for someone," the woman said. "Who?" said Snevy. "His name is Naruto. Naruto Otsutsuki." Meanwhile, it took them a longer time expected to get towards their location. Naruto got lost. Sasuke couldn't stop laughing until Naruto bumped him over the head. As Naruto wasn't used to these kind of, locations after all, he didn't really exactly explore so much of the elemental nation, and these farms were never there when he was around. But they finally got there. The most amazing way possible. Hinata couldn't believe it. She remembered that he flew into the compound, but he flew them all the way there. He created clones and picked them up and flew them there. As it was amazing. At first she was scared, thinking that she was gonna die, thinking that he might drop her by accident, but he assured her that she was gonna be fine. And when she relaxed herself, she realized it was amazing. She had glanced over at Mainma and saw him having the time of his life. Sasuke was pouting, acting all serious, but he was enjoying it as well. They finally arrived, as they made their way towards a farm in town. Arriving there, it was a settlement of farms, a lot of them. Open area surrounded by a large, giant fence. And there was a large wall that cut them off from the rest of the nations. The fence was on the inside that surrounded the farm. As Naruto noticed, a few of the areas were dried up. It was like it was sucked of nutrients. He made his way. The moment they got closer, they came to a stop as someone came out towards them. The man saw the kid's headband, as he looked relieved. "You're from Konoha, I presume," he said, the happy smile. He took off his hat. "I thank you for coming here so quickly. My name is Kaido Kasuke. I'm the head farmer here. I'm the one that asked for the assistance. I heard from the Hokage what you said in the report, but I would like to hear from your mouth what exactly did you see." "Sure thing. Come with me," the man said. As they were brought inside, they were greeted by a woman with long, dark flowing hair. She had green eyes, a very pleasant smile. As she greeted all of them before, they were made to sit down as she got them tea. As the man then turned towards Naruto, as Kaido started to speak about what he saw. The attacks usually happen once a month. At first I thought it was just some kids going out at night doing some trickery. Or probably was a mistake, so I thought that he was nothing to worry about. But then he started to come more often. I was out one night late when I saw it. I'm not a ninja, so even if I was tricked by some of the ninja arts, the thing I saw was scary. Here I am, a grown man saying that, but I assure you it was. It was strangely dark crimson. Even though it was dark, I could see its body. It had several arms. It did not speak, but it made a sound, a screeching sound. It just moved through the farm. It destroyed my crops before moving on. And then it came back more often than so. And I got reports that others saw it. That is when I turned to Konoha for help. I did not expect you guys to come so soon. I mean, we're a long way off, so I'm surprised. And also grateful, the man said. You don't have to worry about anything, Kaido-san, said Menma. We'll find whatever this thing is, and we'll make sure it doesn't hurt your farm or anyone ever again. Thank you, Kaido said above his head. Kaido-san, said Naruto. Yes? Would you mind if I take a look at your memories myself? Take a look at my memories? Yes. You can do that, said Kaido. As Naruto nodded, if it can help you stop this thing, sure, go ahead. As Naruto stepped forward as he placed his two fingers on the man's forehead, before the man's eyes closed. As Naruto saw himself in the dark field, Kaido was in panic, and he wasn't looking clearly, but Naruto could scan his memory and see every single thing. He saw the man running, but yet Naruto was standing there in the memory, as he saw exactly what it was. Whatever this thing was, it was not trying to attack Kaido. In actuality, it wanted to be seen, to create panic from what Naruto saw. It was indeed crimson. As Naruto saw a face mask, with strange golden kanji on it. It was like a worm, but really large. It released several strange hands from his body. As Naruto stepped out of Kaido's memory, it seems like you're not mistaken. I'm not, Kaido said, confused. We do indeed have a monster on our hands. Told you, said Menma. Hinata started to tremble. Monster, she said. It's nothing to worry about. But this thing, whatever it is, it's not here to harm anyone physically. It's trying to create panic. Panic? Why? I'm not exactly sure. But we'll stay up tonight and handle it, said Naruto. Kaido bowed his head in thanks. I have lodging for all of you to rest, seeing that you will be staying up at night. So, with me if you please, he said. The man was very grateful. After all, he was one of those men that was open, optimistic. He didn't see the world as it truly was, a corrupted place with ninjas that kill each other. He was a farmer, through and through. Time skip, later that night. As Sasuke shushed Menma for the 10th time, so he doesn't scare off the monster, whatever it was. Hinata was standing in a tree, her Byakugan activated. She jumped down as she walked back over towards her sensei. Naruto-sensei? Yes, Hinata? There's nothing around for miles, she said. It's alright, said Naruto. Rest your eyes. And good job. Thanks, sensei, she said, as she quickly made her way towards her teammates. Hey, said Menma. Said Sasuke. So, you think this monster is strong? Who knows, Sasuke said. And if it is, even a monster. Suddenly he heard a shriek. What's that? Said Menma as he looked around, his eyes peering through the darkness. Hinata activated her Byakugan, as she then saw something in the distance away. The people were sleeping, given that it was late in the night. It was then that Hinata saw something emerging from the earth. It was dark. Its body was made up of darkness. With her Byakugan, she could see it for what it truly was. She started trembling in fear as she stepped back. Hinata, what's wrong? Menma felt his instincts flare as he ducked. A strange tentacle tried to grab him. Sasuke pulled a kunai as he threw it, and it pierced into the tentacle, but it did not sever it. Another tentacle shot towards Sasuke, but it was grabbed, as Naruto stood in front of Sasuke and held onto the thing in his arm. It writhed and tried to get away from him, but he squeezed it tight. As the monster came out of the darkness, The thing was large. Naruto could sense it. Whatever this thing was, it wasn't exactly normal. Hinata stepped back in fear because she could see what it truly was. It was made up of nothing but darkness, as Naruto could see it as well. Even without his Byakugan, he could feel it. As he released the tentacle that went back into the monster, the thing then rushed towards Naruto, as it seemed to target him out of everyone else. But it came to a stop before it looked towards him. Right in front of his face, Naruto did not budge or move an inch, despite this hulking mass of thing in front of him. You. Its voice was dark and raspy, self-loathing, pain. It's inside of you. More than anyone else I've come across so far. Give it to me. The thing said to him in a rather ominous tone, before it shot several tentacles straight towards Naruto. But the next thing it knew, its face mask was grabbed, as Naruto raised it up off the ground and twisted and tossed it several miles away from the village. It crashed out in desolate land. You three stay here, said Naruto, as he shot forward. Naruto landed in front of the thing, powerful as well. But your darkness, your hand is stained with so much blood. The negativity inside of you, you hold it back, but it's so much fuel, so much power. Give it to me. Hundreds of arms came rushing towards Naruto. As they wrapped around him tight, the thing then pulled itself towards him as it curled around Naruto's body. So that is what you are, said Naruto. A mass of negative energy. Yes, and you're mine now, said the creature as it started tying its hold on Naruto, squeezing him. As Naruto felt it trying to invade him, Naruto then noticed something. There was a girl. She seemed to be in her teens. This thing was using her as a host, and it was trying to move from her to him. As Naruto brought up his hand, the thing tried to restrain it, but Naruto's hand ripped right through it before he grabbed onto the mask. What? Why can't I dive into your darkness? Why won't it reach out to me? I have better control over my emotions than most people, said Naruto. Now, be gone. His fingers start to light up before the thing bursts. As Naruto caught the girl in his arms, he picked her up as he went back towards the village. Time skip. Kaido looked towards the young girl. So this thing, whatever it was, it feeds off people's darkness. Yes, said Naruto. The man sighed. Her name is Ariai. Her father died not too long ago. Transporting goods, he was killed by bandits. Her mother was trying her best to keep her safe, to protect her and provide for her. But losing a loved one is never easy. Yeah, said Naruto. Kaido looked towards Naruto. Oh, I'm sorry, he said. It's nothing for you to worry about, said Naruto. So is it gone? Kaido asked. No, not yet. The door then burst open as a woman rushed inside. As she rushed over to her daughter, Ariai, is she okay? She's fine now. But how did this happen? Said Kaido. Misume. Where was she? She was sleeping. I don't know how she ended up out here. This thing seemed to be able to take over willingly, without her knowledge, said Naruto. I have cleansed it from her body. There's nothing for it to worry about. So what now? Said Kaido. I'm afraid this is not over yet, said Naruto. This thing, whatever it is, it was just a glimpse of what it truly is. What do you mean by that? Said Kaido. Meanwhile that was going on, you know him, don't you? The woman said towards Natty. Why will you say that? When I said Naruto Otsutsuki, I saw your face expression change. I'm a knack for reading people's facial expression. You know him, don't you? I don't know any Naruto Otsutsuki, but I do know a Naruto Uzumaki. Uzumaki? He changed his last name. Well, figures. Given what happened. Wait, who are you? Said Natty. That is not important right now. I need you to bring me to him. I can tell you where he is, but I cannot bring you back to him. Why not? Things with us are not good right now. Oh. Are you perhaps one of his lovers? What? No! Said Natty. It's not like that. Okay, fine, the woman says. She got out of bed. Just tell me where he is, and she fell as Sneddy caught her. Easy there. Your body is still in a bad shape. What the hell have you been through? The woman clenched her fists. Too much, she said. Look, I know you might not be pleased with Naruto at this for a moment, but I need your help. I'm begging you. This might concern everyone on this planet's life. I need you to bring me to him. It is urgent. Sneddy could see that the woman was worried. Affect everyone's life? Yes. If something is not done soon. Please, I'm begging you, the woman said. You don't know how prideful me and my people are. So for me to beg you like this. As the woman bowed her head, just take me to him. That is all I ask. I'm not in any condition to go there myself, wherever he is. As the woman winks again, her body pain reacted negatively. Sneddy thought in herself for a long while. She grumbled to herself angrily. Before she grit her teeth. Fine. But then I'm leaving right away. That is all I asked, the woman said. Time skip. The next morning, we didn't get to do any fighting at all, said Menma as he grumbled to himself. Both him and Sasuke was currently at the border of the farming field. They sighed. There was nothing coming. But Naruto was sure that something was going to happen, that it wasn't over yet. As Sasuke looked towards Menma. Well, we might as well follow the spar while we're here. We can't. We were told to watch out. Why? Afraid, Sasuke asked. Of course not, said Menma. But come on, he's busy training Hinata. He's already given us a training regime to keep on working on. So why don't you and... Sasuke saw Menma looking up. Hey, don't you see me talking to you? As Sasuke watched where Menma's eyes were, his eyes went wide when he saw a mountain flying over them. Menma rushed back to the village and so did Sasuke. Meanwhile, Hinata was panting, but she was also smiling. Excellent, said Naruto. You performed the move wonderfully. Now, he paused. Sensei? As she looked up. As something settled over their head, a massive gust swept down on them. As the thing hovered there in mid-air. What is that? Said Hinata. As Naruto stepped in front of her, the two boys returned. Sensei, Jiji. As they looked up in the sky, the rest of the farmers looked up as well. A door then opened underneath it. As three men came out before descending down, they had strange gliders on their back. As they landed down calmly, Hinata narrowed her eyes towards her headband. That looked rather strange. It was like a question mark with several lines branching off of it. As the men were gliding down with strange, golden gliders on his back. Sky Nation, said Menma. What? Said Sasuke. Remember, we read about this in the book. Seems that Ren-san was right. They faced off against Konoha in the Second Great Shinobi War. They wanted to conquer the nations, but they were defeated. I thought they were wiped out. Well, they're alive, said Sasuke. The three men landed down. As they looked around with smirks on their faces. Well, seems like we're in perfect time. As the first one of the group stepped forward, you, come with us, the first one said. As he looked at Naruto. What do you people want? Said Naruto. We were sent to get you. No arguing. We were told if you create a hassle, we could take you down. As the man shot forward without hesitation, but before he could reach, Menma jumped in front of him. The man brought his hand up, but Menma grabbed onto it, using the man's hand as a leverage, as he crushed his foot in the side of the man's head, snapping him down towards the side, where Sasuke came up with a brutal right hook that knocked the man out cold. The other two flew around Naruto and came from behind. Hinata dropped in her stance as she shot forward. She would protect her sensei. As she struck the man in his legs. The man tried to glide over her, but she struck him in the stomach. As his body went limp, as he crashed down on the ground. The other one tried to grab onto Naruto, but Naruto grabbed him by the face. The man tried to punch Naruto, but his hands were too far away from Naruto. The man then went limp in Naruto's palm, as Naruto dropped him to the ground. Naruto watched as the compartment on this strange Sky Village opened up, and there was a lot of them coming out of it. The people in the village started to panic before 4 copies of Naruto poof. Right in front of him, they dispersed with a burst of speed towards the 4 corners of the village. A few of the ninjas landed, but the remaining ones were trapped outside as a red barrier erupted around the village. Sasuke and Hinata and Minma lined up. Minma brought his hand together and created several clones that started to get the people away to safety. Sensei, why don't you go and handle that? We'll take care of these guys in here. Are you sure? Said Naruto. Yes, said Hinata. As she was one to speak up, Naruto felt proud. As Minma looked towards his grandfather, we'll take care of this. You trained us after all. We're ready. As Naruto felt proud in each of every one of them. After all, he couldn't always be there to watch over them. He had to give them time to shine, and he believed in them, so that is why he flew straight upwards. A few of them tried to get in his way, but ninja wires, with kunais attached to it, wrapped around their legs. As Minma yanked them down to the sky, as the rest of them descended downwards. Meanwhile, a small part of the barrier opened up as Naruto flew right through it, as he made his way up and up and up and up. The remaining ninjas that saw him coming held out their hands with a strange machine on it as they fired rapid kunais towards him. Naruto held out both hands as a gravity field came around him and blasted them back to their cinders, as they were impaled all over before he increased his speed as he smashed right through the flying city, breaking through it. He landed in some sort of throne room. He heard clapping as he turned. Impressive strength. There was a man as he sat down on the throne. He had white hair, long white hair, and he had a beard. He was dressed in a white bodysuit with a vest over it. My name is Shino, leader of the Sky Country. This was just a random village to fester out the darkness, but I must say, the surge that I felt last night was incredible, and it was all from you. I don't know what you are, but you're the first human in ages that contains so much darkness. I must say, you keep it hidden very well, but there is so much underneath the surface. Well, know that you're here. I want it. So you're the one in charge of that slime. You mean the Zero Tail? Well, it is a beast of mass havoc after all, festering in darkness of people's hearts. And you had so much. It's a shame it didn't manage to overtake you, because I would have had Konoha and all the other nations under my grasp if you were a part of my collection. Now, the man said, would you like to do this easy way or the hard way? As Naruto looked around, you have no guards in here. Why would I? I won't need them to take you down. Quite confident, are you? Said Naruto. The man smirked. You have no idea who I am. As he got to his feet, Naruto watched as the man's clothes ripped and burst off him. No idea what power I contain. You might be strong. Your darkness might be a lot. But compared to my strength, you are nothing. You will just be fuel to my engine to keep my city floating. The man then moved. It's the hard way then. He appeared in front of Naruto at a burst of speed as he drove his fist down. As Naruto caught it, the ground cracked underneath him. But Naruto's legs did not bend, not even an inch. The man brought his hand around and tried to backhand Naruto away, but Naruto grabbed his wrist and squeezed it. The man pulled his head back and drove it forward as both him and Naruto's skull connected together. As the man felt, everything went dizzy. He staggered back, confused. Despite him delivering the hit, he was the one that felt the pain. As Naruto stood there completely unharmed, Shino cracked his neck. As he focused back on Naruto, well, seems like you're stronger than I thought. But it doesn't matter. As a strange red beam came in his palm, as he clenched it, as it came around his fist, he shot forward as he drove the fist forward. Boom! As he slammed it right into Naruto. But to his shock, Naruto wasn't even affected because there was a strange barrier that blocked him. You speak about darkness, this and that, said Naruto. Do you even know what darkness is? The man stepped back. Do I even know what darkness is? He started to laugh. "Be quiet," said Naruto. The man was put off by Naruto's tone. "You speak like you know nothing. Yes, I do have darkness in my heart. More than you can ever imagine. More than you can ever dream of. More than anyone on this earth has. Wickedness. I'm a cold, wicked person. But yet I keep it at bay. Because there's a few people in this world that I care for. And yet, you speak about this and that like you know nothing." As Naruto stepped forward, the entire castle started to shake. "Do you want to see what true darkness is?" Naruto asked. The man was caught off guard when Naruto moved. As Naruto phased right through his body and appeared behind him, he screamed out in pain as he clutched his chest. Confused, as he felt a wave of agony and sorrow washed over him, as he started to rip out his own ear, trying to get rid of this feeling that wrenched through his soul. He dropped as he was panting. He stepped away from Naruto running before he pressed up against the wall. He quickly pressed something fast as he went lower into the base. And yet he said he knew what darkness is, Naruto thought to himself, before he raised his feet and shattered the ground. As he landed down before the man arrived, the man then smirked. "I don't know what you are, but..." Several large hands grabbed him and pulled him back into the real manifestation of the Zero Tails. "With you here, that darkness inside of you, I can use it to fuel my creation," he said. As hundreds of golden arms escaped and shot forward, ready to smash down on Naruto. Naruto held out his hand. "Cosmic wave," he said. That was the words that ended it all. A titanic wave ripped through the entire area and decimated everything. The whole structure of the flying planet exploded outwards as debris started to fall down, but he harmlessly bounced right off the barrier. Shino stood there. The Zero Tails surrounded him. The man was shocked. Before he roared, hundreds of tentacles shot forward as they came towards Naruto as Naruto held up his hand. A disc was formed on his hand as he threw it. It severed through them like they were butter before striking into the base. It tear into it and ripped into Shino's stomach. He cursed, but it was healed up rather quickly. "This won't stop me," said Shino as he moved forward. He tried to reach Naruto, but Naruto reached him first as Naruto's hand ripped right through the Zero Tails and grabbed him before yanking him out and smashing him down to the earth. The base of the flying ship, crushing his body through it. Naruto then raised his leg and stomped in the man's stomach. As blood exploded from his throat, his muscles tried to keep up, but when Naruto raised his fist, his eyes went wide as he dropped it in the man's chest. His ribs exploded upon contact. The man felt his chakra system being blown apart as Naruto's hand, his fingers to be exact, reached into his chest cavity. As the man here turned white, his body turned pale like a skeleton. As he was like an old man in his 80s or 90s right now, trembling in fear. His chest, the large gaping wound, bleeding badly. The Zero Tails was now out of control, as the power that it had under its control was now, wild and unpredictable, started to explode. Naruto held out his hand. "Cosmic Crush," he said as he brought his hands together, before clenching them. The atmosphere, the pressure, became too much for the flying city, and the hundreds of soldiers that was rushing towards them. As their heads popped under the pressure, their bodies squashed. The entire building was brought like a force of kami was squashing it. As Naruto's overwhelming force squashed it down before he held out his hand and released the pressure. And everything went boom. The explosion could be seen for a long ways away, as everyone that was brought to safety, protected by the clones of Menma, watched as spear parts were blown to smithereens. The entire giant city was turned into dust. One man stood there. The remaining flying ninjas saw him. As they ran in fear. The ship was gone. They couldn't even breach the barrier. Why the hell would they stay here? So they ran. As Naruto landed on the ground where he saw Menma waving towards him, Hinata waving shyly as Sasuke was smirking arrogantly as they had all of the captors tied up. As Naruto smirked. Time skip. A mission complete as the group was currently descending down as Naruto clones put everyone on their feet as they landed a distance away from the village, just walking distance. So what do you guys think about the first secret mission? It was awesome, said Menma. Wasn't that bad, said Sasuke. It was amazing, Naruto-sensei, said Hinata. Well, I'm glad you guys like it, said Naruto, because there's more to come. Sasuke smirked at that. These were a lot better than the rank missions. Menma was happy. Hinata was overjoyed. But then Naruto said something, as he froze. Naruto slowly turned when he saw Tsunade landing in front of him, followed by Shizune, but it was a person on Tsunade's back. Naruto. The woman smiled. As Naruto stepped forward, Tsunade placed the woman down, but she held her. The woman was still not in a good condition to move freely, but at least she could walk better than before. Urza, said Naruto. As Naruto Jennings looked up confused. Before he could ask her what she was doing here, he saw the state that her body was in. Are you okay? She shook her head. No. What happened? It's Momoshiki, she said. He took over. He what? Said Naruto. But guys, if you end subscribe right here. If you want the next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications I posted. But more for now, see you guys soon. Peace.